Well, hello everyone. I've been getting a lot of requests to do a Q&A. This is not episode 29. Yeah, so some of you are going to be a little upset with me because I promised episode 29 for Saturday, but instead you're going to get this because, well, how can I explain this? I've already done a little bit of advertising with Tufta Outdoor Wear, and they've been really awesome with me and sent me all this cool stuff, and it's perfect for out here. I did sign on with a agency a while back, which is a great opportunity to make money, and so they send me product and endorsements and advertisements. Some of you might be wondering why, or if I'm a sellout or whatever. My angle, my sort of position on that, or my feelings or my philosophy on that is, okay, I would like to do this. I want to make it out here. I've been trying to make this advertisement and I'm still learning how to do that, so I didn't think a 60-second advertisement to integrate into a video would take, I kid you not, 2 full days. I've been in the little hermit cabin making a 60-second advertisement. So hats off to anyone that can do that. The goal is to just get by out here, and the type of things I'm backing is something, okay, Shawn, would I buy this? Okay, yeah, I would buy that. Yeah, sure, why not? Would it help me out here? Okay, so these are the, yes, so these are the things I'm more than happy to endorse. You can make it on a lot of money or you can make it on very little money. I just find that in the beginning, when you're building and you're starting off and you're learning, you're gonna just spend a lot, because I didn't grow up in a homesteading lifestyle like a lot of this. The only thing I really had going for me was sort of a passion for wilderness, and that I had some building experience. I never had any log cabin building experience, or like, I just knew what I knew, which was like kind of your standard urban / industrial carpentry. 90% of this was new to me, but I had enough, there was enough there. Also, what else was I saying? So anyway, that's enough of that. My goal is to get the channel to a point where I can just do cabin river outdoor stuff for the most part, and maybe accept like a little bit, you know. But the goal is to survive for now. Lots of upfront spending. I could have been more frugal in some areas. Sometimes you just don't know until you know. So let's try this out for a couple months. We'll see how it goes. Shawn has got to financially survive and get ahead a bit, and then maybe I can pull back. Okay, Shawn, number one, yeah, why didn't, okay, these are a lot of questions I get in the comments and the emails and whatever. So question number one, why didn't I build on the trail side of the river? Well, so my property is split up into 3 parts. I have about 18 acres over here, and then I own about 2 or 3 acres over there on the trail side of the river, and actually on the other side of the creek. And then here's the main river that goes up and around. And then I have another, whatever, 18 or something acres on the other side. So split up into 3 parts. That's actually, when you have a property that owns both sides of a creek and both sides of a river at a confluence, that's pretty wonderful, man. Like, and my friends were just slaying the trout out of here the other day when they were visiting. So I just never thought, a long ways to get that trail. It's 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers through some not so great stuff in some spots. It'll take a lot of work. I don't know, I've never built a trail before. Like, that, a lot of the good advice I got was, you know, and how to do it cheaply without spending a lot, was get like an old tractor with a front loader, and you can do all kinds of work. I'm 3 years into this property, 3 or 4 years into this property, 3 years, and I learned that on year 3, but I wish I knew that on year 1. Anyway, there was swampy stuff in there. I didn't think I could ever get a trail to here, but I later found out there used to be a horse trail that came all the way to this property, because this property at one time, a long time ago, was sort of somewhat of a guiding outfit for hunters. Yeah, there was a horse trail that came all the way in here, or a foot trail too. So that's why I did not build on that side of the river, because I didn't really know. But I will. Interesting one here when weather turns, like getting across here in the winter is, if it's not frozen over, I'm gonna have to buy some hip waders, and I don't know. Number 2, oh yeah, why don't I focus more on the trail? Well, I think I sort of just covered some of that. Should have. Yeah, should have, but I wasn't expecting to have endless amount of boat issues, but this is one interesting river. It's up and down. Current, whenever you jump in there, the current is always about 5 times faster than you think it is. You go to swim across the river, like, you look at the water, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna jump in here and I'll pop out down there. No, you jump in here, after a big rain especially, it's going so much faster. You jump in here and you end up over there, 200 meters down the river. It's crazy. So anyway, this river takes no prisoners. It's a scary son of a gun, and it's like one of the more beautiful rivers in the province, I think. It's something else, I'll tell you. With no boat issues, I believe I would have had everything up here by now. But with that said, I wouldn't have been able to afford it, so should have built a log home, I guess. Okay. Number 3, here's one I get a lot. Why not tow a boat behind me? Number of people have emailed me about this and messaged me or whatever in the comments. So this is a big one. It's actually a really good idea if you're maybe on a lake or something. This river, like I say, it's up and down quite a bit, and you'll notice in a lot of the videos when I'm on the river, there are a lot of snags that shoot up. So if you ever got caught on one of those while you're going, and with the jet boat you have to be kind of going to get it up to plane, because I do not have a propeller on there, if you remember. To get it up to plane you have to be going at pretty good speed. So if you're towing some other boat behind you and it gets caught on a snag, let's say the boat comes to a complete stop on the snag while you're towing this thing behind you, and then you as the operator just happen to go flying out of the boat or whatever. So there's the safety factor. Other thing too is it's a john boat. It's a sort of almost a flat bottom boat. It's not much of a V hull to it. And with the jet propulsion, you have the on the shoe of the jet at the bottom of the outboard, you have about a 12-degree angle. So you have forward thrust with the jet going up or down the river, but it's also pushing the boat up, and you have a flat bottom boat. So even if that boat is fully loaded versus empty, it's sitting in almost the exact, when you're up to planing speed and you're going full rip, you're almost sitting in the same amount of water. You're not really weighted down. So whether I'm fully loaded or empty, the boat is sitting almost in the same amount of water. If you're fully loaded and doing that and towing something behind you, now you're gonna lose your ability to plane as well. So towing something behind you with a propeller, yeah, I think so, and just not on this river. But I don't have a propeller, so. Why cook on propane? Why not on a fire? I like cooking on a fire, and I often do, but how can I say this? I think no matter how idealistic you are and you think you'd always cook on a fire out here, you won't, I promise you. Getting a 20-pound propane tank up here is not a difficult thing whatsoever. Even if I have to walk with it on the trail, it's still worth it. And not only that, I don't really go through much propane at all. You just human nature is to sort of, you don't always want to struggle. I think human nature is you want to sort of find the path of least resistance, because it's somewhat of a, I don't know, it's a survival tactic, or sometimes you just don't want to do things the hard way all the time. Even though I seem to do a lot of the hard things all the time out here, there's always a better way. Well, I may as well do question 5 here as well. Question 5, I guess more of a statement. So I wrote down here, if you buy a property, make sure it has a clearing, especially if you're by yourself and you have no equipment and you're just one guy with a couple of chainsaws up a river in a boat with no road access. You're gonna have your work cut out for you, especially if it's dense forest like this. This is some of the more dense forest anywhere in North America. So this is a little over 40 acres. If you have even a half an acre clearing, you are golden. Take it and run. I love this because of the amazing river access and all the scenery and everything, but oh my goodness, if you're just one guy with a couple chainsaws, you're not, and everything was so dense when I got here, it was just, there was nowhere on the property that had a clearing, so it was just thick forest everywhere. So I think I spent that first summer just clearing. That gets pretty boring when you're by yourself too. It's all relevant, I guess it depends on circumstances. So if you buy a property and it's heavily forested and you have even a little bit of a clearing, that'll help you, that'll save you a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of energy and all that, a lot of calories, a lot of money. So yeah, a little bit of a clearing is going to help you out a lot. Threw away that first summer just clearing stuff basically. But it's a good lesson to learn. I got a lot of lumber out of that one tree. That stump behind me there. Thanks tree. There's a lot left on it too. Oh yeah, just briefly, yeah, if I could do it again. Another thing too is I would have got a lumber mill up here right away. But I didn't know, I didn't know anything about them. I thought they weighed 8 million pounds. I didn't realize, I just didn't know. Like, my instinct was go with what you know. And I've built with plywood and lumber before. Just get it up here in a boat, no big deal. But it was a big deal, still is, so getting things out here is difficult and expensive too. So now that I've wrapped my head around a lumber mill and they're not actually that monstrous and huge, and yeah, I don't know, I was just ignorant, didn't know any better. Get a mill, Shawn. Even some old used one, they come in varied sizes. I just needed something basic. Ultimately, I only really need to cut in lengths not really any longer than 10 feet for the most part. Working on it. Because that Alaskan mill attachment is just, it's not fun. Not only that, I found with that Alaskan mill, you're pushing it, the fumes are just like right in your face, so you don't want to breathe that in too much. What else here? Oh, here's a big one. Number 6. Why don't I get a dog? I don't have an answer for that because I don't even know myself. I don't even know. I'm sure I will, I just don't know when or why I don't get one now. I think I wouldn't mind taking a few weeks in the spring I like to travel, so I wouldn't mind going to, I have some friends back home where I grew up or in Europe or whatever, like, and I thought, oh, if I'm leaving the dog behind for 3 weeks or something, that's not very nice to the dog. I mean, a dog would have a pretty good life out here, so yeah, I don't have an answer for the dog thing. I'm sure I'll get one. I just I didn't feel totally comfortable with it just yet, so. Number 7, why don't I build with logs? Should have. I got an email. The person meant well, but it was sort of criticizing me for not building with logs. But I realized after talking some more, that person never got to the starting line themselves when a remote property came up. So if you're watching, buddy, I don't mean any ill will to you, but you criticized me. So all I'm saying is you had a chance to buy a remote property and you didn't do it. Getting to the starting line's a big one. I had another much cheaper property, so that was almost as bad access as this, but this, no, doesn't compare to this, but it was still hard access. So I got to the starting line. I'm happy with that. There's no regrets there. And I don't know what the finish line is. I don't think there is a finish line. It's like you either stay for the rest of your life. You do like Dick Pronicki. Everyone remembers that guy from the Alaskan cabin build. So, oh, there's another rant right there I have for you. But anyway, like that guy was up there for 35 years or something, you know. But he was too old at the end. He had to go back to Idaho or Ohio or wherever it was, and he lived out his last couple years there. So there's no finish line. You come, you start, and then you spend a year, you spend 10 years or forever. I don't know. I know that, like, if you grow up doing this, you're probably going to do it forever. I guess you'd call that being a product of your environment. So. And why don't you improve your power situation? One of the endorsements or sponsors or whatever you want to call it, or brands, they reached out. They're going to help me big time with the power situation. I already have one of their products, and so I'm pretty stoked on that because that is a huge money saver. And not only that, I do like their stuff. They make a really good product. I don't think I should say their name, but it's solar power bank company. So I'm waiting for that. Otherwise I would have upgraded by now. I'm getting by. It's not so bad right now, but I do need to improve it. There's a ton of water power. The power, solar, water, little water turbine would be major out here as well. A lot of people don't have that option, but there's so much fast flowing water here. So a water turbine would be awesome as well. But solar is great. I know another fellow who has a really wicked setup as well, and he has no issues with his power. And he has bears, number 10 bears. Well, there was that one bear that was coming around, if you guys remember from the earlier videos, and it was pretty aggressive. It wasn't a huge bear, it's pretty big. I think it sort of was born in this area, and it sort of was familiar with it. And because it's funny, because last year there was a much bigger bear that would come through, and I only got it on camera climbing the tree the one time, but that thing, well, it was, you could tell it was so into doing its own thing. It really wanted nothing to do with me whatsoever. It didn't even look at me. It just didn't even acknowledge my existence. The bear from last summer. It would just come around, and it came around almost every day for like 6 or 7 days or whatever. But yeah, it just seemed like I could never get it on camera. It would do its thing. It wouldn't even look at me, and then it would be gone. Climb the tree a couple times, and then it just liked to climb that one tree for some reason. And then, but the bear this year, or if I ever I did run into a boar and a sow, so the couples during the rut, at the end of the rut, mating season, so ran into them on the trail. They didn't hear or smell me or anything. It was windy. They scared the heck out of me. I scared the heck out of them. They went that way. The boyfriend girlfriend went that way. I went that way, but we scared each other. And I don't know, there's been some bear issues in this valley over the past 100 years, some of the literature I've been through. So the bears are really wild out here. A lot of them, I'm sure, up the valley have never been in contact with humans, so it's all very new smells to them. They're not like habituated bears in like the ski resort towns that you always see just lumbering through the village. These are more, they aren't accustomed to all these smells. So sometimes carry bear spray, sometimes don't. I don't know. To be honest, I don't worry about them ever. I feel like I'm careful. I feel like I know if they're there or not. So yeah, making noise is a big one. When I'm using the trail, I'm just making a lot of noise. Just want to let them, I don't want to startle them and spook them. But to be honest, like, do I have any bear fears? Virtually zero. So I've had encounters where you're scared for a moment, and that's it. And I think, oh, well, when the other bears were in the previous videos, like, I was kind of excited, but I was more excited that I was actually able to capture them on camera. Because if I didn't have the camera rolling, I was like, oh, this is great. This is good for the YouTube videos or whatever. I'm like, have them on camera. But other than that, like, if I didn't have them on camera, I just wouldn't, I don't know. Yeah, so that's it with the bears. I mean, you want to do your due diligence and all that good stuff. Oh, how remote am I? Yeah, so I'm pretty remote. I know I'm 10 or, well, I guess, yeah, how far is it? About 11 kilometers from here. There's a train, and those tracks go through wilderness east to west for a long ways. It's just, there's the odd little ghost town or whatever, the odd little hamlet. There's a pretty big major sort of hub of the north that's about 140 kilometers, 150 kilometers from here. And to the east is another town about 100 kilometers from here, let's say. But for me to get there, I have to pack my stuff, and I'm always like, you gotta pack everything. You can't forget anything, and it's happened a few times. You gotta come all the way back, grab your keys for your vehicle, or it's brutal. Pack your stuff, go 12 kilometers, 12 or 13 river kilometers, not in a straight line, but just river kilometers to the boat launch, or depending where my vehicle's parked, cross the river, walk a few kilometers, then jump on the ATV, take the ATV over to my vehicle, and you're packing and repacking, putting stuff on the ATV, all this stuff. And same with the boat. And then, ooh, it's getting windy here. Get in your vehicle, another hour or hour and a half, depending what direction you're going, of driving to get to your thing. That's one of those things where it would have been really nice to actually build on the other side of the river. Here's a very contentious issue, is the sod home. First of all, that's not on my property, and I've touched up on this before, and some people are very passionate about how you call it. I can't remember now what to call it, a root cellar, or I believe the guy built it as a root cellar, and from what I understand, his actual home burnt down, and he ended up living in his, I might have that wrong, but he ended up living in that I don't know what to call it, I'm sorry. There's some people that are very into the living in the dirt. So why don't I live there? Well, it's not on, first of all, it's not on my property. Second of all, if you build a cabin and it's insulated, it's warm. So I get that there's like a earth thing happening with solar energy, and I don't like, I wouldn't want to live in there. Whenever a cabin finally does get built, like this one, like, and it's insulated properly and you have a nice roof on there, that's also a pretty good place to live in, with windows especially. That's it. And like, by the way, I'm not defending myself here at all. So sometimes it might come across that way, and sometimes I have I don't know, a different sense of humor that maybe comes out like I'm complaining, or it's sarcastic. I'm not, in my head it's never that bad, and then when I'm going through it on video, I'm like, man, I'm sort of a jerk. I come across as a bit like of a complainer sometimes, and I'm like, I really, like, I didn't mean it that way. But the thing is, a lot of, like the guy in the email about building a log home, he's right. I should have built a log home, but I wasn't expecting the boat issues. But he was right. So a lot of what you guys are saying is generally right. It's like, yes, that's exactly what I should have did. Yes, I should have did the garden thing earlier and all this stuff, but like, holy cow, I've been, as mentioned before, as time goes on, things will get more streamlined. I'll be able to focus, especially when the building of stuff is done. It would be nice to have a couple other people want to come and live here. Like, here's an acre or two. Do your thing. Just hang around once in a while. Help me stand a wall once in a while, but help me help you kind of thing. I don't know. Who knows? I might want to sell the property in a year, in 10 years, in 20 years. I don't know. But in the meantime, just free rent. There you go. Here's a couple acres, cut down all the trees you want. Okay, well, thanks for listening to that, guys, and video 29 will be out, and yeah, we'll see you later.